boletes.
The fungi guy, the fungi guy. He finds the fungi, we find out why he's the fungi guy. The fungi guy, to find out about fungi. Then you could do worse than give this guy a try.
He's the fungi guy.
Well, those are the perils of making your own shoe pastry. Oh, you-hoo, hello. Hi, Ali McKernan here, the Fungi Guy, and I'm delighted that the BMS have asked me to lead you all on a virtual foray because it's UK Fungus Day 2020. I thought I'd dress up for the occasion, you know, put my shirt and tie on, and I've also put on my UK Fungus Day t-shirt, so, you know, all equipped and ready to go. While we speak of equipment for this foray, the things you will need, let me show you. Absolutely nothing. What do you need for a foray? It's basically just a walk in the woods, isn't it? You know what I mean? So you just need your peepers. Keep your peepers peeled. So let's go. Let's go and have a walk around. I'll take you to a couple of spots. And whilst we walk, I will talk a little. Hopefully point at some mushrooms and talk about them. And maybe show you a few little pointers. A few little things that help you think about what you might do if you wanted to look for mushrooms and actually go on a foray. Enough talking already. It's too much that. Let's go. Let's go and find mushrooms. There's a school field here and I've just spotted a couple of bits. I might not spend long talking about them because we're near somebody's house and it's very early in the morning. I come out early because I don't like people watching me when I'm talking about fungi. Let's show you what I found. Well, here's the playing field, and down here we've got something that's an inocybe, also known as a fibre cap, and you can see it looks fibrous, the cap surface, and that umbo, a little nipple in the middle. That's a key identifier. Right next to them could look similar if you didn't know otherwise, but there's something called the brown roaring Paxillus species. There's a few of those, hard to know which one without having a closer look. Cool, we're off. For the purposes of today's walk, we're going to go to a small woodland because it's the trees I'm after. You can find fungi everywhere. They're on grass verges and roundabouts, and I love that about fungi. But it's important you know about certain mycorrhizal relationships. Some fungi grow specifically with certain trees, they're host trees, and they look after each other. But the four trees, I'll talk about that a little bit more later, that relationship. But the four big ones, the top of the shop, birch, beech, pine and oak. Say birch, beech, pine and oak. Everybody now. Birch, beech, pine and oak. I said birch, beech, pine and oak. I wish I hadn't walked across that field. I've got really wet feet and I'm not even started yet. Well, I found some mushrooms. I'm on a little country lane, as you can see here. And it's the sides here, these little embankments that I like. And I'm underneath hornbeam, birch, beech, and oak. So let's have a look. I found some boletes. Oh, lovely stuff. Now here's a good starting point. If you're out to just enjoy fungi, leave them where they are. If you really want to learn about them, and in order to educate yourself, and like I am now, this is an educational video after all, quite often you will need to pick just one fruit body if you can. If there's only one of the whole thing there, leave it alone. Could be something quite rare. If you can see a whole bunch, I don't think it's detrimental to take one to learn from it. It's a learning experience and sometimes that needs to be hands-on. And with fungi, more often than not, you will actually need to see all the different parts of the mushroom, the fruiting body, to be able to learn exactly what it is and to ID it confidently. Just the cap surface above might not be enough for many, many mushrooms. So I've picked this so we can learn from it. Okay, let's have a closer look. So all boletes will have a sponge like this, bar one, which has gills. That's quite a rare one. But there's about 25 different subgroups and altogether 70 odd different types of bolete, I believe. This is in the smaller one, and I know this because of the shape of its pores. They're all different shapes, so we call that irregular pored. I know this, and through some other features, it's quite small. It's got this redding on the stem. I know this is in the Xericomelus family. Beautiful. If you stumble upon a bolete in a field, it's not a grassland fungus, so take a look around because there must be a tree within the vicinity that this will be growing with, which is always very exciting because that's a wonderful thing about certain fungi. The first thing you need to do, and a very important tip if you're on a foray, what trees are in the vicinity. In this case, there are several different species, if not more actually, because I've just spotted yew and holly, and they all can have mycorrhizal relationships where they are mutual symbiosis, a symbiotic relationship where the mushroom and the tree look after each other by passing forth, backwards and forth, water, nutrients and sugars. Beautiful. The bolete family. one of my favourites actually. I just love the chunky shapes. Quite pleased we've had no dog walkers yet, because that gets me all over. When they start walking past, then I feel a bit weird. So I'm doing all right. Let's look at the next fungus. Just seen something else, another species, and now we get to talk about colour, because I found Lacaria. I found the deceiver. Now the deceivers, so called because they're deceptive. This one not so much anyway. There is a lookalike. It's famous last words in fungi. Oh, it could be the other thing though. Lots of that going on in fungi and mushrooms. But with this, quite specifically, I can tell you what this is for a couple of ID features. Look, let's just get to cut to the chase. It's purple. Might not be able to see that on a good day. This will be really vibrant, but underneath, yeah, can you see? It's beautiful, vibrant purple colour. You've got this very fibrous, contorted kind of stem, very tough and fibrous. This little hole there, that depression in the centre, and widely spaced gills, quite widely spaced apart. The deceiver. The more common one of this, which is the beige one, okay, the common deceiver, really is called that for lots of reasons. It's such a variable species that if it's particularly washed out one day, or if it's young, or if it's dry, or it can grow quite tall and small versions of itself. So always fools people on a foray. It's a good one, that the deceiver. Keeps on giving, that one. But this one's the amethyst deceiver. What a beautiful thing. Well, I've just spotted a lovely patch of another genus we can look at, another species now. This is the milkcap. Wonderful, let me show you. Oh yeah, lovely fruiting. And because of the shapes and the colour and my experience in meeting lots of these, I know immediately what this is. He says, I might be wrong, maybe someone at home's about to tell me off. But this is the oak bug milkcap. So the first thing I do is look up and around to check. Now within a tree will be in the vicinity, it doesn't have to be the one that it's directly underneath, but within 15, 20 feet, maybe even more, that tree will be nearby. So this grows directly with oak, and I do believe nothing else. Let's take a look at why it's called the milkcap. So here we have the classic features of a mushroom, which are the cap, the gills underneath, and a stem, or also known as a stipe. Now what's unique about the milkcaps, now they're called lactarius, which comes from the Latin lactate, which we know is to produce milk. Now this isn't really a milk, but it doesn't half look like it. Are you ready? And if you break the gills, they should secrete a milk. Can you see that coming through there now? Let's bring that in closer. There we are. And that's secreting this white latex. The oak bug milkcap. Beautiful. I'm being heckled by a song thrush. Now this is the perfect opportunity to talk a little bit more about smells. This is what makes fungi such a wonderful hobby, because you know what, use nearly, I'm on a roll now, I'm going to have to tell you this. Use nearly all of your senses, and what hobbies, what else can you say does that for you? Because we've got smells, I'll come to in a moment. You've got sight, of course, using your peepers. Smell, sight, taste, I won't go there. I'm not talking about edibility as such, but some of the milks, if you were to put a little bit on your tongue, can go from mild to burning acrid hot. Sight, smell, taste, touch, of course. Fungi can be, the caps of them can be slimy or dry, smooth, like velvet. All these wonderful different texture types on top as well. It's just a wonderful thing. Yeah, I know that obviously you can't really hear a fungus, that's one sense that's missing. But what a wonderful way to engage with your environment and with your hobby. So let's go back to smell. Milkcaps is a good example because some of them have some unique and beautiful smells. This one, people say, smells of bed bugs. What does a bed bug smell like? Hopefully you're in the minority if you do know that. But it has got a musty kind of smell about it. Often if you're smelling a mushroom, you do need to scratch and sniff, there's no other way about it. Often it's the underside. Smell the underside of a mushroom to smell. So a bit of a musty one. You've also got, in the milkcaps, you've got coconut and even curry. It's fantastic. So there we go, the oak bug milkcap. Quick look around, quick dog walking check. We're okay, keep going. What else can I find? Now I spy under here another family I've got to introduce you to because it's a popular one, quite a common one on forays when you're looking out and about. Again, mycorrhizal, growing in association with trees. Let's get suspense. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm going to go and get it first. Wow. This is gorgeous. Fresh as a daisy. Slightly wet top. This is a russula, the russula family, better known as, common name, Brittlegill. And the clue's in the name, innit? You know what I mean? Does what it says on the tin. The gills to this mushroom are brittle, and if you pull your finger across them, they flake away and break off onto the ground like flaked almonds. That's the appearance they get. Interestingly with this, oh yeah, we've got it going on. I'll try and demonstrate that. In young ones like this, where the whole cap hasn't quite opened out yet, a little bit tighter, a little bit firmer still, but when you've got a nice open cap like that, those gills will flake away with the slightest pressure from your finger. The Brittlegill, very closely spaced gills, so we call that crowded gills. Usually always pale cream. Gill colour can change and vary from mushroom to mushroom, but in the russulas, always either white to pale cream. Another key feature is their stems, chalky white, like crumbly. They're made in a different way to other mushroom types. So these are made in a whole different way that I would love to be able to tell you now and explain. Not because I don't have the science or the knowledge. We haven't got the time. But yeah, chalky stems. Russulas, beautiful to find. All sorts of colours. You've got ranging from bright red to greens and purples and blues to beautiful bright yellows. Gorgeous family. Really difficult to ID in the field without microscopy and a few different little tricks and stuff. This is the new genus that I really want to get to grips with, because I walk past too many without really knowing what they are. And I'd love to know. Like, what are you? Who are you? Forget that. I always smell a mushroom. Absolutely nothing. But some russulas have a really distinct smell. You've got a crab one. So you can get really fishy ones, and one that smells of camembert. So cheers. Oh, first dog walker there. Right, lovely little selection there. But I'll move us on now into just a slightly different space. Similar trees again. We've got oak and birch this time, but slightly more open. And with that can come different fungi. So let's go and have a look, see what I can find. I can smell a stinkhorn. I can smell a stinkhorn. And so we've talked about smell being a part of a foray and part of the process of IDing mushrooms. I can't carry on, I've got to stop and put this camera down and see if I can find it. To be able to smell something before you see it, not many can do that, but the stinkhorn is one, the common stinkhorn. At this point, if I don't find this, I'm going to have to show a picture on here, what the stinkhorn looks like. Anyway, I'm going to try and find it. Stay there. Nope, can't find it, and it's infuriated. It's so excited because it's a unique smell. For those that don't know, a stinkhorn gives off this repulsive to some smell. I'm going to tell you now, I actually quite like it, but maybe it's the association of what I'm finding, because it's exciting to find a stinkhorn. It smells basically of like rotting flesh and poo, and that's to attract flies which land on it, and the sticky surface to that, it's not so much a cap, but the top end of that fungus is covered in this slime, the gleba, and the flies will take away some of the spores on its feet, and therefore that's its spore dispersal mechanism. Wonderful. But I can't find it, and I wanted to show you one. I'm going to keep looking as I walk. It might be miles away. Maybe it's drifting right down the smell. Not miles, but you know, feet. Let's go and have a look. So far, the focus has largely been on mushrooms, which have this mycorrhizal relationship I've spoken about. But there's another fungus, many fungi, that perform a really vital role in our ecosystem, and they're the recyclers. And they come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. Balls, clubs, cups, smuts, rusts, crusts. Just say the crusts. And you will find them usually on dead or dying trees. And they do this incredibly important job of recycling that dead wood, taking out the lignin and the cellulose, degrading it back into the ground, releasing all the nutrients, and essentially creating good soil. They are the soil magicians, the recyclers. So if you're struggling to see general fungi and mushrooms around, check out your nearest big log pile or a big old fallen tree and have a look on there, because you might find, if you look closely, you find some incredible fruit bodies. You get eyelashes, you can get jelly spots, slime molds. Ooh, it's all so exciting. So I'm in my new spot now. A little bit more sunlight, a little bit more open, which could provide different conditions for fruit bodies. But again, I've got a nice embankment. I love an embankment. I've just spotted some beautiful... Shall I tell you what they are? Yeah, I'll tell you now. Amanitas. New family for us, the amanita. One of the most poisonous species on the planet. And these are gorgeous. I'm going to show you the blusher. So here they are, and this is perfect because they're in their different stages of growth. In fact, all three beside each other. Look at that. You've got the button as it comes through. As it starts to burst through that button and that universal veil breaks away, it leaves behind these little fragments, those veil remnants. And here you can see, typical of the blusher, leaves absolutely tons of them. Look at all those beautiful specks. Absolutely gorgeous. Related, of course, to the fly agaric, which is Amanita muscaria. This is Amanita rubescens, and the muscaria has far less flakes on the cap, and of course is a bright red fungus. So it's called the blusher rubescens because wherever it's been any damage, slug damage, and nibbled or broken away, it bruises this beautiful pink hue, this little blush. But there's a key feature here underneath, and that's where the ring on the stipe, if you look closely, it's striated, lots of little grooves on it. And those grooves are where, when it was underneath the whole of the cap, it was touching the gills, and it leaves behind this, what we know as a striated ring. A key feature when you're trying to pick out Amanita rubescens. A typical feature of Amanita is that they often grow out of a bag or volva, which is buried within the ground. So really important sometimes when you're trying to identify certain mushrooms, especially ones of this look of this ilk. Look deep down in the undergrowth to see if there's a bag there. If there is, you know, most likely a poisonous species. Beautiful, beautiful blusher. Well, do you know what? Talk about a spotlight moment. He's keeping this little beech sapling company. Look, he's in the spotlight. Oh wow, the tawny grisette. Now I've just found this. I think it's been slug nibbled, so oh yeah, it's quite damaged, look. But it's worth a mention. Quite a nondescript mushroom to look at, really. But this is a really special mushroom because this is called the miller. And to the touch, the cap surface, they say it's like kid leather, really beautiful soft leather. Underneath, its gills. Now here's a little word. The way that the gills attach to the stem, although this has now been chewed away, is another feature for lots of fungi and mushrooms when you're trying to identify exactly what they are. This one has decurrent gills, which meant they ran all the way down the stem. And it gives a pink spore print. The colour of the spores are pink, and you can see that in this pinky colour here. But really interestingly with this fungus is its smell. It's distinct. It's so strong that I'm smelling the capsule, not even the gills. Mealy, the miller, wet flower as in milling, wet flour. Mealy as in milling flour. So this smells of wet flour and other things too. I'll let you Google that. But this is also an indicator species that there might be other things around, and by other things I mean the king of boletes. I mean the penny bun, Boletes edulis. Let's go and have a look around. Oh, I found some. It's just here. It was only up the way there. So there we go. Perfect indicator species. Perfect reason to get excited because this means that's there, which means that must be growing there. All these connections, joining the dots. Enough talking about this stuff. Let's have a little look at one of the most revered bolete mushrooms out there. Let's have a look. Here it is. Oh yeah, that's lovely. Look at that. So this is, do you know what? Oh, there's another nice one as well, look. Let's just clean it up a little bit. There we go. Beautiful. There we have. In England known as the penny bun. In fact, this mushroom probably has more names than any other, which shows how much it's revered across the world. So you've got porcini, cep, King bolete penny bun. And in fact, oh, look at this one here. This has been knocked off. I'm going to guess slug damage. It could be kids kicking it about, but look at that. If we talk about penny bun and the origins of a name, it looks like little loaves that have just been baked. Little baked loaf. I mean, that's perfect, isn't it? And all that little nibbling there, slug damage there, they've been nibbling away, so they've been food for the slugs, which is great. Oh, I've just noticed those there. Ooh, that's put me on the spot. What are they? I don't know. I think it might be a small cortinarius, which would be a new one, a web cap. Ooh. But here we are. And those tree associations I talked about earlier, this mushroom grows with beech, birch, pine and oak. And all but pine are in the vicinity, but they're directly under some quite old oak trees. So I reckon it's growing with those. Often get this little white margin here, that's quite a key feature for Boletes edulis. Obviously quite a stout chunky thing. And you get reticulation, which is like a little network, like a netting on the stem itself. It's very hard not to be pleased to find that. It's just such a lovely, substantial, classic mushroom of the woods. Homely, chunky number. Great. So I was just thinking, I think that's probably ready to conclude now. We've met lots of lovely species. How lovely. Babbling brook, penny buns. Just in the corner of my eye, I've seen a little troop of something. A little troop of something. What's that over there? What are you guys? Under hazel. Ooh. And now the mystery begins. Solving the puzzles. But first, I've got to traverse the river. It's not a river, is it? It's a stream. Well, let's traverse it anyway and find out what they are. Directly under hazel. That was my indicator because they could look a bit like the beech milk cap. But I've just tasted a little bit of the milk on the tip of my tongue. And it is blazing hot. So this is the fiery milk cap. Brilliant. Right, I'm under pressure now because I've just had a call. I'm supposed to be back for breakfast, but I've spotted two things on my way out of the woods. One is this beautiful roll rim. We said we saw them through that school fence earlier, and they're underneath. In fact, I'll show you because there's an abundance of them. There's what gives it its name, Paxillus, the roll rim. That whole edge there is rolled over there. Fantastic. But down here, while I was looking at the roll rims, look at this. What's this down here? Hello? Some big old, ooh, grisette. I talked about when the cap edge opens on a grisette and you get that beautiful striated edge. I've never really noticed, but it's also serrated as a result, isn't it? Look, it looks serrated. Fantastic. This could be the orange grisette, or is it just a large tawny? Wow, it's just a large tawny grisette. I say just, but that is absolutely beautiful. Look at that. Right, I could go on all day, but breakfast is calling. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Thanks for joining me, if you're there. Thanks, I hope that gave you a little taste of what a foray might look like in mixed different areas. But remember, the trees was the main thing going on today. They were the hosts to so many of those beautiful fungi that we met. So look, be safe if you go out there and enjoy fungi for what they do and how important they are in our universe. No fungi, no forest, no future. It's not mine, someone told me that, but it's a good one, isn't it? Take care of yourselves.